Welcome, everyone. I love when we have first-time visitors to the party line. It's exciting to get to know another design person and what makes them tick, and to kind of pick their head for their process and see what inspires them. And so, I am very excited today to welcome Katie Startzman, who may have done the cutest book and book trailer ever. So welcome, Katie.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
It's good to actually see you as well. So the so let's talk about how you got started down this road, this knitting and designing road.
Well, I have two boys, and I decided to stay home with them after I had my second son, and I started knitting toys for them. And I really, very soon after I learned to knit, I learned about hand felting. And as that can be for some people, it was just this captivating, super inspiring process. Like once I learned felt, I couldn't stop messing around and experimenting
It's
with
really
how to use my
addictive.
hands.
It's
Yeah,
really
yeah, right.
addictive.
And just like the magical kind of transformative process is so neat. So I started designing and making little felted toys for just my kids. And that was right around the same time that my twin sister and I started blogging about our crafting and fibery projects. So I soon started selling them on my blog and then on Ravelry. So that's kind of how I started working. And I still think of the type of designing I do, it's different than, I mean, I have made and designed garments before, but it's kind of different than designing garments. It's a little more sculptural. I'm interested in a different kind of little niche of knit designing.
Yeah, and this book is great. I mean, it's out now, and for people who
Mhm.
don't have the book, which I have my handy copy right here, but if for those who don't have the book, I do encourage you to either get it at your local yarn store or click on any of the books in Planet Pearl's. We have a section of the website that also links you to any corrections for
Oh,
books
cool.
as well. But to click on anyone, it'll take you to Amazon, but it captures the Planet Pearl lead. And so we get the tiniest little commission, but it does help keep us bringing events like this since
Mhm.
go to meeting we actually pay for the privilege of using their software, so it does help us keep the doors, virtual doors, open since we don't have any real doors. So because it's really adorable and perfect timing for
Mhm.
the holidays because
Mhm.
slippers make such a great gift.
Mhm.
Now, do you have a preference for whether you're designing for, because in this book it's kids, women, men, it's everybody. Do you have a preference for who you picture when you're designing?
Well, selfishly, a lot of times when I start out, I think about something that I would enjoy. And, just like we have lots of different pairs of shoes, there's different types of slippers, for what you're doing or how cozy you want to be or that kind of thing. So some of the slippers are scuffs that you can easy to slide in and out of. Some of them look more like shoes, so you wouldn't look like a crazy person if you wore them to your mailbox, that kind of thing. So yeah, and I do, I like designing for kids too. I have boys in my life. I just have two boys, and my sister has two boys, so they're not very picky. They don't have strong feelings, so that's kind of fun to make stuff for them too. They appreciate whatever we come up with, whatever I come up with, and my sister and I knit for them.
Oh, how
So
nice.
yeah.
And I the publicist from your publisher had sent me this link, and I've probably
Uh-huh.
watched this 20 times.
Ah,
I have to say
cool.
it may be the cutest thing ever, and since it's only a minute and 35,
Okay.
I think we're gonna show it.
Cool. Great. Thanks.
So cute.
Aw, thanks.
So how did this happen?
Uh, well, I don't know. I wanted to make a trailer for the book that was really watchable and told a story that wasn't just like a commercial, telling I I generally watch book trailers for books that I'm interested in, but I wanted this trailer to be really shareable. So, and I've been interested in stop motion animation, and like I said about knitting slippers and how I'm so drawn to like the sculptural aspect and what you can do with knitting. I just thought it would be fun to combine those things to make a little story. But honestly, when I started working on it, it was fun and easy to create the characters and the sets and everything. And then we started filming, and I thought, whoa, I'm in over my head. This stuff. So, because I'd never done it before. But my husband is a graphic designer and does web stuff too, so he really helped me. He did the filming, and we worked on it together. It was really fun to actually have a project to work on together, and
Yeah.
I'm happy with how it turned out. It was a lot of work, but it was fun.
Yeah, Savannah Gallett said it must have taken a long time to create. I don't
Yeah,
yeah, it looks like it was not an easy thing to do. I mean, after all,
yeah,
your girl's knitting there, right?
right,
So, which
right.
is
So I would move her. Michael would take a picture. I would move her, take a picture. Real slowly. So it did take a long time. We did like 3 to 5 minute segments at a time, and then pieced it all together.
oh my
So.
God, it was the cutest thing ever.
Oh,
I had to share it
thanks.
on my Facebook page. So
Oh,
I
I'm
hope a lot of
glad.
people went to go see it because it was
Yeah,
just
yeah,
adorable.
people have been liking it. I'm happy about that.
Oh, wonderful. So I think
Yeah.
we should give people a little preview of the book. What do you think?
Great. Sounds good.
All right. So now it was really tough for me to pick which projects to highlight. So I tried to do a little bit
Great.
of everything.
Okay.
So and first these are and the color was really the first thing that drew me in. These are
Cool.
adorable.
Great.
So tell us a little bit about the design.
Well, these are unique because they involve some sewing as well. Um, they are constructed from boiled wool. I thrift a lot, and I always find boiled wool garments at the thrift store that might not be a good style, but the fabric is and the material is so appealing. I was determined to find a slipper that would make use of that. And you could also use purchased wool suiting or boiled wool by the yard. And so there's a super simple pattern in the book, a template that you can enlarge or reduce to any size that makes just like a simple kind of slip-on clog shape when you sew it. And then it's just a knitted cuff that's just it's double thick, folded over and sewn around the cuff of the foot part. So yeah, and another thing I like about this is it's actually a really quick project. I am relatively new to sewing garments, but after I started sewing, I was like, wow, it's a lot quicker to sew a shirt than, knit a sweater.
Oh,
And so it
yes.
was, and so for like a last minute gift or a last
Oh,
minute project,
yeah.
this would be a great one because I mean you could probably knit those little cuffs in one evening and then just stitch them onto the slipper. So
Yeah, and Savannah Gal says she's pretty good at
yeah,
accidentally shrinking wool sweaters, which so this is a really
yeah,
great use for that. And I
yeah,
have friends who go to like thrift stores
right,
and buy wool sweaters and throw them in the
sure,
washing machine and they cut them up for other projects, which is a great,
sure.
reuse and recycle kind of thing as
Totally. And
well.
they would that this pattern would be very well for sweaters like that too. I have to admit when I come across a wool sweater in a thrift store, it's hard for me to pass it up because it seems like there's so many things you could do with it.
Yeah,
So
and especially if they have reindeers on them. That's my personal weakness. I put reindeers on everything. So, yeah, I don't know. It's maybe it's because I live in the mountains part of the year, but
yeah,
I just love reindeer. It's just so
right.
festive. So, yeah, so I want reindeers on everything.
Okay.
So, and I have to say, when I first saw this, I didn't realize that the knitted sock part. or the knitted
Hmm.
leg part was actually part of the slipper
Yeah.
and not just the model wearing socks.
Right.
So,
No. That was another thing I like to mess around with or experiment with in the book is combining things that are felted and not felted because each material has different strengths and weaknesses as far as its characteristics. So these slippers are one of the warmest designs in the book. They're knit with two strands of lamb's pride worsted, so they're super thick and chunky. And when I made these, I was really thinking about like those Wellington barn boots that you can just pull on that are super sturdy.
oh yeah.
And but then I thought, you wouldn't want to just have these, when you want nice cushy socks when you're wearing boots like that. So I made this knitted lining for the leg part that's not felted that kind of replicates that feel.
Yeah, and then I think probably helps hold the slippers on a little too because
Sure,
it's more
exactly.
fitted.
Right. There, and the ribbing is so elastic.
And
Mhm.
yeah, so it still make it easy to get in and out of them. Which I
Right.
like that the fact that you have those slits there, which I think well for I have this weird kind of claustrophobia where I have escape claustrophobia. So I can't wear any kind of boots so I can't get off really fast.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So I loved when I saw these slits in there. I thought these would be the easiest slippers to just kick off
Yeah.
and pull on. They're really really adorable. I
Cool.
I
Thank
think
you.
I'm gonna have to make these for my cabin. These will be
Uh-huh.
my cabin slippers. They're awesome. So
Good. Thanks.
now, do you ever use that? I know there's like a latex non-slip stuff that comes in tubes now that you can like dot on the bottom of your slippers for
Uh-huh.
non-skid. And I
Mhm.
didn't know if you'd ever used any kind of products like that for non-skid on the bottoms of your slippers.
Yeah, I talk about that a little bit in the technique section. There are several different types of sole options that I talk about, and they each have different applications and then like pros and cons. I use paint on latex. I'm not sure. I haven't come across the stuff in the tube. I'll have to look into that. Um, the stuff that I called for is called Cast and Craft Mold Builder. It's just 100% latex in like ammonia. So you paint it on and then the ammonia evaporates. And I find it really effective. I like it because it's also translucent and it's really good for non-slip.
Oh,
So
good. Well,
yeah,
I wasn't familiar with that product. I had just seen this
yeah.
specifically made for people who knit slippers,
Oh, neat.
where you can do it in designs or dots or whatever, so you can
Yeah,
put a pattern on it. It comes in colors, so that
cool,
you can color coordinate it, so people keep doing it. Don't like
cool.
slide across the wood floors, but
Yeah, they can be dangerous.
yeah, you do have to
Yeah,
take some precautions, so otherwise
right,
it's like a slip and slide. Right?
right.
But it's the
Yeah,
same thing if you're walking around your house in socks. You kind of get
socks.
the same
Sure,
things. So
sure.
Mooskers asked if do you explain the felting process in the book?
Yes, quite a bit. I really came to designing through felting, especially felting by hand. So I feel pretty strongly, or not feel strongly, but I've learned a lot of tips and tricks about what works for me, especially hand felting, because I think people think that hand felting is a lot of work and it takes forever, and it does take time. But you can't beat the control that you have when you're felting by hand. So I talk about that a lot. I also do an overview of how to felt in the washing machine. And I also see her question about if we can do these without felting. And there are about half of the projects in the book do not call for felting. So it's, well, maybe even more than that, but there are many projects in the book that are not felted.
Yeah, because when you throw it in the washing machine and turn it on, there's always you kind of hold your breath until
Right,
the cycle's over and you discover that you haven't really made doll slippers by mistake.
right, exactly.
Yeah,
So
there's
I only do felting in the machine now if I have a huge project. Like there's one pair of boots in here that I put in the washing machine because before I felted them, they came up like to my knees, and it was too much to manage hand felting that. But besides that, everything else I felted by hand.
by hand. Yeah, and Moosker says she's feltophobic, which
Oh
I mean I understand. I mean there is something about
no! Yeah,
taking something that you knitted with love and care
right.
and throwing it in the washing machine and hoping for the best.
I know. I agree. But I just feel like the the material that you end up with is so perfect for slippers and for
Yeah.
toys too when I did toys, that it's worth the risk, you know? And slippers are such a small project to knit. So if you knit one slipper, it's just a little bit more than a swatch practically, you know, it's so small. So your risk is a lot less than if you were knitting this big complex bag or something and then felted it. So
Yeah. Or
I,
even worse, garments, felted
right,
garments. This
right,
is like
right.
terrifying. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
right. But I know there's always some risk, but I think it's worth it.
Yeah. This is so
Uh,
cute. So tell us about this little project.
okay. Well, these were inspired by my 7-year-old son who just I don't know. You always see bunny slippers, and so I couldn't really do a slipper book without bunny slippers. But
Of
I also wanted
course.
to kind of do something different, you know. So I thought it would be sweet if the bunny had a friend who wasn't like him. So I thought it would be fun to do a little rabbit and a little fox.
Yeah.
And these are, I know I keep saying this about these projects, but these are knitted with Spud and Chloe Outer, which is just a wonderful yarn, cotton and wool blend. And they knit up so quickly. They're perfect for a gift. So I hope people enjoy those.
Yeah.
And you can't see it in that picture, but the bunny has a big fluffy tail on the back too. Of course, he
Oh,
has to have a pom
cute.
pom tail.
And I've never seen fox slippers before, so and Savannah was saying she loves the fox slippers too, and
Oh,
and
good.
there's a little teaching moment there too about being friends with things that are different than
Right.
you, right?
I guess
So
so. That's true.
exactly. So it's kind of a
Yeah.
twofer.
Yeah.
So your slipper has friends. Now
Mhm.
these are the boots you said you threw in the washing machine then.
I did. To get them started, and then I felted the rest of the way by hand. But to get the felting process going, I put them in the washing machine because, as you can see, they're pretty big. So before I felted them, they were enormous. And I love this design. This is, when you're designing something, sometimes, especially with felting, it's different than designing a garment that's not felted because as we were talking about the risk, there's also a process when you're designing where I'll knit something and felt it, and something won't be quite right. Maybe it's too fat around the toe or something. So then I'll adjust that and then knit it and felt it again and continue tweaking it until the shape is just right. And some designs come together, really quickly, just two drafts is what I call it, and two times, and then it's just right and it's ready for the pattern sizing and all of that. These boots took me a long time to get them just right because I wanted them to be shaped for your left and your right foot, so they're not just rounded on the toe, they are kind of angled just like real shoes are. And they're also real trim around your foot. Sometimes I think slippers are like super bulky and clunky and they make your feet look enormous, and I wanted these to be a little bit trimmer. So anyway, they were kind of a challenge, but I think they were worth it. I'm really happy with how they turned out.
Yeah, they're very
Yeah.
cute. Now, how do you get your foot in and out of these? Are they pull-ons?
Well, they might give you trouble, Beth, because you just you just slip them in, but it's hard to tell from this picture, but they do flare a bit at the top, so they're not straight up and down. They come out at the top, and so they're not. I don't think they're that bad.
All right.
And then you can kind of use the ties to tighten them up a little bit after you get them on.
Yeah, these are really really cute. And of course, the project that you have to knit 20 times would have to be the one that actually has the
Right,
most knitting, right?
right. It was enormous. Yeah, yeah.
So cute. Yeah, Savannah Gal, she says she loves these. They're perfect for her huge rubber boots. I think those
Yeah,
would be great
yeah,
covers for your huge rubber boots. And what a
yeah.
what a cute little
Oh,
yeah, this is adorable with the little embroidered flower on it.
cool.
They're
Thanks.
so cute.
Yeah. So I was inspired by like vintage Mary Jane baby shoes for these. And this was also unique because I worked with Brooklyn Tweed, Loft, the fingering weight wool. I really generally only felt with like worsted weight or chunky, bulky yarn that makes a real thick slipper. But for the baby, I wanted something that was real
Ah,
fine. And you would not believe what nice fabric this makes. It's just thin and supple, but it's also still kind of sturdy. It's perfect for baby shoes
yeah,
or slippers.
really
Yeah.
precious, and I love that they're
Oh.
red. There's just
Yeah.
I don't know. There's just something adorable about those little red shoes.
Aw,
So,
thank you. They have little vintage pearl buttons on the sides.
oh, how cute! These are so much fun.
Aw, yeah.
So, tell us
You
about these slippers.
okay? Let's see. These I like because they're actually double thick. You knit two pieces for two socks kind of for each slipper, and then you turn one inside out and stick it inside the other, so they're so smushy and comfortable, and it's knit with malabrigo, so it just couldn't be any more cozy on your feet. And then I made this recycled fringe by unraveling a thrift store sweater in a specific way, which I talk about in the book and show you how to do it. And that was kind of fun. For that, fringe and ridiculous fluffiness is another thing I think of when I think of slippers, you know? So I wanted to include a design that was just like out of control, fluffy. So that's what these are.
Yeah, it looks like it's red wool fur trim. So,
Uh-huh.
and
Yeah.
actually, I'm just picturing wearing two pairs of really thick woolly socks and thinking just how that's just like winter
Yeah.
comfort, right?
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
these are constructed really easily. These are just like knitting a sock at a chunkier gauge. You can't see it in a picture, but you turn the heel and everything. You just don't knit, a leg. So if people are familiar with knitting socks, this will be a real breeze to knit these.
Yeah, because they're going to stop pretty quickly once they get around the
Right,
heel.
right. Yeah, so they're quick.
Very, very cute. Yeah, Savannah Gal says her nieces will love these. I
Aw,
think somebody's getting some of these for Christmas.
cool.
So these just made me smile. I think you can't help but smile if you were wearing these,
Yeah, I agree.
right?
Yeah.
They're just so exotic and so crazy, but everybody who saw you wearing them would want a pair for themselves.
Right. I know these are kind of like fantasy slippers. If I lived the life that I kind of sometimes wish I did, just kind of lounging around, knitting by the fire, these would be the slippers that you would want to wear.
Yeah, wearing
And
hammer pants too. You got to wear hammer
right.
pants with it, right?
Yep.
So,
Yep.
yeah, there's
So yeah, and these are fun. I think it's fun too because the slippers are like a blank canvas. You could do so many different types of embellishing. And because the slippers all of them are relatively quick to knit, you can really take time and embellish them in ways that are fun. So these slippers are embellished with needle felting and also embroidered on sequins and beads.
uh,
So kind of went crazy with those. My twin sister Laura, who helped me with a lot of these, really played a hand in helping embellish these and working on the paisley design and that kind of thing. So that was fun to work together on these.
yeah, they're adorable, and I love to needle felt. Other than I
Yeah,
do have a tendency to stab myself. Oh, Savannah Gal
yeah.
says I'm dating myself. Everybody
No,
knows
I
what
know
hammer
what hammer
pants
pants
are.
are.
I think he had a reality series on TV not too long ago, so I think people
Haven't
know
they
what
been coming back around? Aren't hammer pants coming back around?
I have seen pictures. Yes, I have seen pictures, contemporary pictures of women wearing hammer
Right,
pants.
right,
So
right.
yeah, and Savannah Gal says she's seen some in downtown Chicago lately. So, but if you're wearing hammer pants, you have to have these slippers. I mean, come
Yeah,
on.
I guess so.
Yeah, I agree. So funny. And and these just kind of they look like your favorite worn in blue jeans.
Yeah,
They-
um, yeah. These are some cotton loafers. I'm really kind of what's the word? Biased towards wool. I would use wool for everything, but I wanted to have some projects that weren't wool. So these would be good too for times of the year, places where it's not super cold, but you still want to have like a house shoe. So they're knitted with a jute sole, and then the upper is cotton, and the casing around the top of the slipper is actually functional, so you can snug that up so they fit really well, because sometimes cotton, it's hard to make it really be flexible, so I wanted them to be super functional.
Yeah,
So I'm
cute. And
happy with how they
the little leather moccasin ties are just it's a
turned. Mm-hmm.
perfect little touch on those.
Mm-hmm.
But they were really charming. So
Great.
yeah, and people are still talking about those
I dream
slippers
of
with the
Jeannie. That's perfect. I can't believe I didn't think of that.
what the curly toe ones. Yeah, I dream of Jeannie and the King and I. Yeah, they're just
Yeah, the king and I. Oh my gosh,
yeah,
that's great.
they're so
We could have come
funny.
up with a lot of different names for those slippers, apparently.
Yes, they evoke a lot of things. So not all of which date me. So, but thank you for that thought. Yeah, and Selena says the slippers are modeled so well with the
Aw,
outfits and the look. It really enhances it. Yeah, the styling in this book is really,
yeah.
really cute. So,
Well,
I
let
don't.
me tell you about that. That was such a neat thing. I didn't have anything to do with that. we worked with a photographer in Japan, and she Mika Nagasaki, and so I sent all of the slippers to her, and she and the book designer Miao Wang did a whole shoot in just like 2 or 3 days. And I'm so pleased with how the photography turned out. And they just really captured the spirit of the slippers and the idea that I had so well. And it was kind of scary for me to just send them all away, not have any input on what everything looked like. But I'm really pleased with how they did. It looks really good.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was really beautiful, and it
Mm-hmm.
definitely shows off the designs.
Mm-hmm.
So this looks almost too comfortable to ever take off. These little button boots.
Yeah, so this was another project where I wanted to experiment with combining felted knitting and non-felted knitting. And I was really thinking about spats and how old-fashioned shoes that had a shoe part and then a spat. So that's kind of where I was going with these. The buttons on the side are functional, so you could unbutton one or two and fold them down if you want something that's like not so tall. So yeah, I like those, and it's a cartridge rib. So I just learned cartridge rib recently, so it's reversible, and it looks really good either way.
Yeah, really sharp, and just the
Hmm.
color selection. I love that pale green, that like, pale lime
Yeah,
green, and
thanks.
yeah, and especially in the wintertime, sometimes you need a little color pick me up.
That's true, especially in February around here. Oh my gosh, so gray.
Yeah. So yeah, when it gets really gray and rainy, that's you need a little something.
Yep.
So I like it's like bright mittens, bright hats, bright scarves, bright
Hmm.
slippers. It's a little pick me up, which is nice
Yep.
too.
Good.
So we have some other places to take people. So
Okay.
for those who are on Ravelry,
Mhm.
Katie has a design page here, which is Katie-Startzman, so that you can see some of Katie's other projects. You can see some from the book, and then I think most of these are not in the book. And I have to say
Yeah.
these little diorama ornaments remind me so much of, remember the sugar, I don't know if you can still get them. Now
Oh,
someone's
I
going to tell me
know
the sugar
the
Easter
eggs.
eggs,
Yeah.
right? That with the opening in them and then the
Yep.
little sugar bunnies and the sugar, yeah,
Yep.
it reminds me so much of those, which I loved when I was a kid. In fact, I decided once when my mother wasn't home and I was probably 6 or 7 that I could make one by wetting some
Oh.
sugar and putting it in the oven at a really high temperature. She came home with the fire department out front. So
Wow.
yeah, so
Wow.
that's my little that's
Teamwork.
my first attempt at cooking. So,
Aw.
but
Yeah.
they're just so ad- adorable. I
Cool.
want
Thanks.
them all. I want
Well, yeah, the slippers from the book I'm not in control of when they go on Ravelry, but they'll all be there soon. So, but these are all patterns that I have several free patterns. So a lot of these are free patterns that I just like to share, and then some of them are for sale.
Yeah,
So,
these little nesting dolls are adorable too. There's some
hmm,
really great small gift ideas, and I know
cool.
that people
Yeah.
are, we're kind of starting into that season. I always judge it
Yep.
by how many people are subscribing to the Planet Pearl channel on YouTube because we have like 100
Uh-huh.
plus videos on how
Uh-huh.
to, and
Right.
it's crazy right now. So
Picking
I'm
up.
I'm pretty sure that people have started
Yeah.
their holiday knitting, and there's just some really cute ideas here, Katie,
Cool.
for small
Thanks.
gifts.
Hmm.
So the kind of things that people will keep forever, and these little diorama ornaments embroidered like with the date on the outside for people who
Yeah.
have like small children where they have an annual ornament. Just
That's a good idea.
yeah, just really, really, really precious.
Cool.
So, and then if you want to follow Katie, and why wouldn't you? If you want to follow Katie, now I'm assuming Laura is your twin sister.
Yeah, we share a blog.
Isn't that nice?
Mm-hmm.
Sisters
It's
getting
fun.
along. So,
Yeah.
so you can track them, you can stalk them, you can keep up with them
Yep.
at duofiberworks.com, which is their spot here on the internet. And
Mm-hmm.
then what I really love is so many designers are now going to Pinterest, and
Mm-hmm.
we get a chance to see not just their projects, but we get a chance to see things that move them or inspire
Mhm.
them. And which to me is really fascinating of how things kind of come together in your head where you look at something and you think, "Oh, I could make a or this would be really cool and this pattern this design would be really cool if I did this," and kind of
Right.
translate it into knitting and
Mhm.
shoes because whatever those pink and green and blue
Aren't
and
they crazy?
those
Yeah.
are really
Yeah.
gorgeous. I would love to see those. Yeah. So I mean, so it's kind of like that kind of thing. So it's really if you want to see what gets Katie on her road to whatever crazy cute new thing that she offers, then that's where you're going to find it.
Cool. Yeah, that's right.
So that you can follow Katie on Pinterest, which uh, is probably a good idea if you're interested in any kind of design or color or how things happen. So, Katie, it's been really a pleasure having you today. I hope you're going to come back and visit us really soon. What are you working
I'd
on
love
now?
to. Well, right now I'm getting ready for some events that are going to be coming up in Kentucky, and then I'm also going up to the New York Sheep and Wool Festival next week. So I'm just excited to get out and meet people, meet knitters in real life. I feel kind of isolated out here. I live in a small town and just knit by myself. So I'm excited to share the book with other people. So yeah, I'm getting ready to do that.
Well, good. And I
Mhm.
when you get the next one,
Mhm.
God bless you. Yeah, once you recover from this one and you get the next
Yeah,
one, yes. So I hope you'll come back and visit
great.
us. It's been
I'd love to.
really
Thank you.
nice to get a little peek into your world, and we do appreciate the fact that you make sure we have warm feet.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Savannah
That's
Gal says her feet
important.
are always cold, so she's really
Yeah.
looking forward to this book. And so, for people in the room, though, do not go away because after we end the recording and say goodbye to Katie, I'll be giving away a copy of so someone is going to get a copy of their very own. So,
Cool. Good.
thanks again, Katie. I really
Thank you.
appreciate you coming in and chatting with us today and talking about your really adorable book and the road to finishing that and I hope we're going to see you again real soon.
Sounds great. It was great to be here. Thanks so much, Beth.
Oh, thank you.
Mhm.